So today, you're going to see that I'm quite passionate about entrepreneurs and their relationship with banks. I'm also not one of these speakers who comes and tells you to innovate your way out of problems and that the trains are coming to kill you and that you have no choices. What I'm here to tell you is about tech, stocks, crypto. Yes, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain, only briefly though, so don't panic. Entrepreneurs and the basics. The basics is the real one here. So what I want you to think about over the next 30 to 40 minutes is in everything you do, in your day-to-day, how do you simplify, how do you focus, and how do you serve your customers better? That's the main point behind all of this. So let's talk about stocks. In 2012, I just sold my mobile internet company called MoTribe. It was a mobile social network builder. So if you imagine owning your own Facebook, but for your little community, your soccer team, your church, your neighborhood, whatever. We sold that business. I'd raised a hell of a lot of money in VC, and everyone was pointing at me and going, it's easy to sell a business when you've raised so much venture capital. If you've ever raised venture capital, you know that that is completely incorrect. The more money you raise, the more times you have to sell your business multiples, and the harder it becomes. So I wanted to do with my next business a really simple experiment. I wanted to take 5,000 Rand, build the business in 6 weeks, and see if I could turn a profit in 30 days. And it just so happens that Socks was the first business that I started. This is the website we have right now. We are a monthly Socks subscription business, 5 years into the company, and we have an online store. I have 3 physical locations. About 6 months ago, I had 5 physical locations, but those of you in retail know that it sucks, so we closed 2. We've got a global distribution network. We are vertically integrated into our manufacturers, t-shirts, underwear, and socks, and we sell hundreds of thousands of socks a month. These are some of our products. I'm wearing this t-shirt today. Everything we do is natural, environmentally friendly, sustainable, and local. So we manufacture everything in South Africa, from our socks, underwear, and t-shirts. These are some of the things that helped me start my business, and I think that this is what kicked off the engagement with me being here today. Everything you see here, I could start my business with less than 5,000 Rand. All of these things enabled me to build my business. The only thing that my bank did for me was give me a bank account. I do not bank with Nedbank. I'm not going to tell you which bank I bank with. I might let slip later, but you do, yes. But if you follow me, you'll know which bank I bank with. Don't say anything. So one of the key products that I used to build my business was WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a South African startup, actually. It's the biggest e-commerce platform in the world, and it was founded here in Cape Town. Literally tens of millions of people use their platform to build e-commerce stores all over the world, and it's free. We've recently shifted over to Shopify as our e-commerce platform. That's also free if you want to get started very simply, but there's some payment tiers. PayFast is our payment gateway. We've used SnapScan in the past, but the crux of my payment world is Yoko. I like Yoko so much that I've actually consulted to them on their first physical store here in Joburg and Parkhurst. If you guys want to see what a payment company store of the future looks like, go and visit it on 4th Avenue in Parkhurst. And subsequently, I've become a shareholder in their business. That is how much I believe in what they're doing for startups. And let me tell you why. I worked into their offices and went onto their website first, went into their offices, and they offered me a card machine. I think it was like 1,200 Rand or something, or 500 Rand. I bought the card machine, it was mine. There were no monthly rental fees, there was no setup fee, there was no lock-in contract. I bought the card reader and I was trading that very same day, and I got the first payments into my account from sales the very next day. Now, I don't know if you've got any products that can do that, and if you do, I don't know about them, and I suppose that's a different problem. But this was revolutionary for me. When I joined them, I was the 140th business to join them. They now have over 17,000 merchants using their products. And the daily payments from them is really game-changing for me as a small business in terms of my cash flow management, but I'm going to talk about that. When you walk into my store and you see their card reader, it's this really little, simple, beautiful thing. My stores are crisp and clean. We have no wires anywhere. Our iPad is on the point of sale. There's no till. The till is hidden. The receipts aren't printed. They're emailed to you, and this plays into that. The bulky bank machines of the past where you swipe and stick and print and goes everywhere. It's not for me. It's not what I wanted. When I started my stores, I was an e-commerce entrepreneur, and I decided if I was going to build a store in 10 years, not knowing anything about retail, what would it look like? And I built my stores accordingly. So I wanted to talk quickly about how I grow things, because I was asked in relation to your app launching, how do we grow? How does it work for us as a small business. And I'm going to start with my big business experience. So MoTribe, we built that platform to nearly 2 million users in 18 months. And Vodacom, when I worked there, we built a social network for them. There was kind of a location-based social network for feature phones. And again, we got to nearly 2 million users, 1.5, 1.6 million users in the space of a year. It's really simple how we did that. It was really not a shock. And I'm sure that you've got the similar KPIs that I had. We just bought them. I put ads out and I sent SMSs, and people generally will do whatever you tell them if you market to them enough. And if you don't believe me and you think that I'm being facetious, it's true. You see McDonald's on the TV, you go and eat it. You see Puma, you go and buy Puma. It's just how we are as humans. So at Vodacom, we knew that the more money we plowed into SMSs, the more people would see the SMS and eventually download this freaking app. The problem is my KPI wasn't engagement, it was downloads. And I mean, I even hate saying KPI. It makes me gag a little because it's very corporate speak. Sorry. You know how long it took me to figure out that it's the key performance indicator? I was at Vodacom and they were talking to me about KPIs. I was like, I don't know. So what I'm illustrating here is that spend equals churn. Not all the time, not all the time. Spend can equal stickiness, but on the whole, if your higher-ups are telling you that you need 10 million downloads of your app in 6 months, what you're going to do is find the lowest cost per acquisition. You're going to acquire the customer, they're going to download your app, and then they're never going to use it again. And then in 6 months' time, you're going to wonder why your app didn't work. So what we do at Nick Harry, after my MoTribe and Vodacom experiences, was very different. I'm building a 20 to 50-year business. And when you have that mentality, you don't want to rush. What we're building is community. So at Nick Harry, we have incredible customer service. Hands down, that is sadly a differentiator in the South African market. And if I wasn't standing in front of Nedbank, normally what I would be saying is, have you ever had a good experience with a bank? And the crowd goes, no. Then I say, have you ever had a good experience with a mobile network? And the crowd goes, no. Yet I pay you every month. And I've never had a good customer experience with my mobile network. And I used to work at Vodacom. And that's really sad. So when we started Nick Harry, we put customer service at the center of our business, and that's not just me paying lip service to it. I'll show you how we do this. We then created an amazing product, which I'm wearing top to bottom. And that's just your school fees. That's what gets you on the pitch, right? It's a good product. You can't have a good product. You can't play the game without having a good product. Then we did honest marketing. And this one is so key, and I'm going to talk about this in much more detail. I'm tired of hearing bullshit from brands, and so are you. You guys don't click on web ads. You don't listen to the radio ads. I heard a radio ad the other day with a funny line, and my partner and I both laughed at the line, and then the ad was over, and she was like, who is that again? And that's not good marketing. That works because those brands are paying millions of rands to repeat that marketing over and over and over. But we'll talk about honest marketing more. And then the last thing we do is we build a community in an authentic way. So when I send an email to my database, I literally write that email. And people pick up on that so much that the last email I sent out promoting our latest products, people replied to that email and said, thank you so much for emailing me. When was the last time Nedbank sent an email where anyone thanked you for sending them an email? Very rarely. Authentic community is what matters. We decided to grow our business and continue growing our business using authentic communication and engagement. That's so key. And then we repeat. You've seen this slide before because we just repeat. We have consistently incredible customer service. We have consistently amazing product. We have consistently honest marketing. And we're consistently engaging with our community. So, what are the problems that I face as an entrepreneur? And these are vast and many, and they never end. If you have ever built anything, you'll know that it's extremely difficult. So these are just some of the problems that we experience as entrepreneurs. The first one, unequivocally, I don't know if you can see I'm trying to tell you something, is cash flow. If you are running a business, or if anyone you know is running a business, and they believe that their biggest issue is their competition, they're wrong. In any industry I've ever been in the last 12 businesses that I've built, of which 10 have failed, I failed because of cash flow. Even when it wasn't because of cash flow, it was because of cash flow. So we're going to focus on this a little bit more later on how you can help us as businesses. Because most young entrepreneurs who are building their first or second business, they think that that invoice wasn't paid on time, it's the client's fault. No, that's you didn't manage your cash flow properly, so you were dependent on one invoice. And there's a very subtle difference between blaming your customer for not paying you and managing your cash flow so that you can survive another month. The next problem that I have right now is growing a business abroad. We know South Africa is having a tough time. We know we have a pretty useless president who's sinking our economy. I'm very happy to speak openly about that, so I'm not going to hide behind it. But the problems aren't about that. My problems are that if I want to grow abroad, do I need a bank account in Europe? I have a European passport, but does that mean I can just fly over there and do it? If I need to fly over there, it's very expensive. Do I need to have a business if I'm going to trade in that account? Out of interest, if I list my products on Amazon in the US, I legally have to apply for tax in every state that someone buys a product from me. So that means if I succeed and get a 50, however many states to buy my product, I have to pay tax in 50 different states. How do I manage that as a small business? Yet, Amazon holds the key to my growth into the US market, which is unbelievably big. How do I do exporting? How do I do warehousing? Do I need partners? Can I do it myself? All these things prevent me from just doing it. And you might ask why I'm doing it. So let's look at some numbers. The latest, greatest numbers I could find is that South Africa's retail space across the board, online, offline, FMCG, the whole deal, is about 950 billion rand, so almost R1 trillion. That seems like a big number. It feels like it should be. The next latest and greatest number that I could find is that e-commerce is roughly 1% of that. Okay, so 9 billion rand. That's on the top end. The truth is that's on the top end. Because it's more like 6 or 7 or 8. But let's use the top end for this. The last number up there is 8.3 billion rand. That number is what America did on Black Friday in 2016. On one day, the entire American e-commerce did more than we do in a year in South Africa in e-commerce. That is why I need to grow my business overseas. Not because of any other reason, but because if I want a 100 million rand business in socks, it's not in South Africa. There are not enough people buying online with enough disposable income for me to become a 100 million rand business just purely selling socks. And if you don't believe me, let's look at Germany as the equivalent, right? South Africa and Germany have got good trade exchanges. Germany's e-commerce in 2016 was 860 billion. Just their e-commerce is almost the size of our entire country's retail spend. So all I need to do is be successful in Germany and get a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent, and I've got a bigger business in Germany than in South Africa. And because at Nick Harry we produce everything locally and we're vertically integrated, I have the margin to allow me to go and export. So why shouldn't I? So one of the problems I face is getting overseas and getting over there quickly. So one of the companies that I found that helps me to do this is Stripe Atlas. Have any of you heard of Stripe, the payment company? Seriously, anyone? Okay, one at the back. You need to start researching what payment companies are out there, because Stripe not only is a payment company, but they're now enabling businesses from outside of America to launch American businesses. So I went on to Stripe Atlas. I needed an invite code from an entrepreneur that I know, so I had to go and trawl through my network. It took me about 2 weeks, and I found an entrepreneur who was registered on Stripe Atlas, and they had an invite code. Once I was in, it was like manna from heaven. For $500, I got a US business set up, a Silicon Valley bank account, an employment number so I can employ people in 5 days. Think about that. I'm going to mention this later on, but it's worth mentioning now. In Afghanistan, it takes 8 days to register and start a business. In South Africa, it takes 45 days to register and start a business at the last count. Stripe Atlas registered me a business from South Africa in Delaware in 5 days for 7,000 rand. Do you want to talk about innovation? They've taken the bloat away. They just streamlined everything. Now they have more customers. That was their goal, right? They don't care about me having a business. They care that I use them to process my e-commerce payments in America. Very smart move. So talking about bureaucracy and bloat, I want to tell you a little story quickly about me opening my Menlyn Park store and then subsequently closing it. So opening a retail store is not cheap. It's not fun. Don't do it. If you're planning to stop, just save yourself the money. Trust me, it's not worth it. But one of the things you need to do is pay a deposit for your store. And that is usually a metric shit ton of money. In my case, it was about 300,000 rand. And we paid that, luckily, into one of our own accounts at my bank, so I could accrue the interest and the landlord didn't accrue the interest. Over the last year, there was nearly 1 million rand in that account, so the interest is quite sizable over a period of 3 or 4 years. But because we closed the store down, I needed that money back.
Menlo Park is suffering. They have empty stores, they have tenants leaving, they have tenants reneging on their rent. Edcon owes them hundreds of millions. Edcon never opened 6 or 7 stores. So they're in trouble. So what they did to me, the smallest possible business in their center, is they stopped communicating with me. I've now left my lease. I've left the store. I've gotten out of it. I replaced the tenants for me to go out and for someone else to come in. And for me to get my deposit back, my bank needs an official written letter from the landlord to cancel the lease guarantee and give me my money back. That took me 2 months. Can you just think about what 300,000 Rand does to a small business's cash flow? And my bank just stopped answering me. The landlord just stopped answering me. How exactly am I supposed to get around this bloat when literally no one will answer my calls? Well, I'll tell you. I have to spend the money to fly to Joburg, catch a car train, go to the park station, catch an Uber, go to Menlyn, sit in front of their door until they see me. That is literally what I did. For an entire week, I just pitched up at their door until someone went, Jesus, here, take this thing and leave. And I was like, but why are you making me feel like a criminal? Between my bank and my landlord, I was a criminal for asking them for my money back. That is bloat that destroys small business in this country. It is processed like that doesn't understand what we go through just to make a rand. Get rid of the bloat. 3D Secure, this is a quick one. I'm not going to bitch about this too much. E-commerce in this country is suffering because of 3D Secure. How many of you have ever bought anything online? Great. So all of you have gone through the pain of setting up your cards for online purchases, and then you have to go, crap, did I give them my email or my phone number for the one-time PIN? Shit, I'm not with my phone. I don't have my one-time PIN. I'm out. We have people phoning us at the office going, hey, you guys didn't send me the one-time PIN, so I can't pay for the thing. And we're like, but we don't send this to you. The bank sends this to you. Oh, my card's not set up for that, sorry. That's it, we've lost. Get rid of 3D Secure. Help us get rid of this from the Reserve Bank, and we will be making exponentially more money. Every process you put in, once someone's given you their credit card details as an e-commerce business, there is a 30% more chance that they will not check out. 3D Secure drops my checkouts by up to 30% every time someone pays with a credit card. That is not a free and fair economy for me to build a business in. Yes, I understand you're trying to protect me, but now I've got a card that I can swipe for anything under 200 Rand and no one cares, but you've got 3D Secure in place. My socks are 199. Swipe, free. Come on. Come on. Why am I still being forced to make my customers do this? It's crazy. Okay, so now onto the fun parts, and I'm going to try and bash through this. There's going to be questions at the end, so we can come back to anything that I rush past. So make notes. So lots of speakers will tell you that new is always better. Innovate, trends, new, buzzword, amazing synergies and stuff. That's crap. Like Donald Trump's presidency, that is wrong, okay? That is just wrong. And I'm going to use the Porsche ad from the 80s. Starting from a clean sheet of paper is fine if you have nothing worth keeping. I do not believe that a bank like yours needs to start with a clean sheet of paper. There are many, many, many examples of businesses that tried, and I'm not going to go into them because they've been flogged to death. I'll name them: Kodak, Lego, Blockbuster. You've heard all of these from other speakers. They tried to innovate. They tried to forget about their businesses. They tried to separate innovation departments, buy people, leave them out. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work because you're forgetting about what you have created in face of something that's coming. And at Vodacom, we did it. At Vodacom, I left because I worked out that my entire 2-year budget to build this 2 million person strong social network was exactly 8 hours of turnover at Vodacom. Why would they give a crap about my new fandangled thing if they're earning what I spent in 8 hours? And that's the problem with innovating in a corporate. Cognitive dissonance is a real thing. They don't know what's coming because it's not coming yet. So don't get rid of stuff. I want to talk to you about some things that I see coming in 2018. Small data. Every speaker and everything you've read for the last 5 years has been talking to you about big data. Screw big data. Big data has got masses of servers and tons of information that no one can interpret. It's time to start interpreting the data. And that means getting small, okay? You've got to build something small sometimes to build something big. You have to interpret the data and personalize it. And there's a very specific reason I have a photo of a Ferrari here. It's not just a randomly cool car. When you have small data, and with the advent now of artificial intelligence, you can use that data intelligently to know more about your customers. That's what it matters to me. Going all the way back to customer service, AI can help you figure out the volume of data that you guys have got on the last 100 years of spend from every customer that swipes a card of yours. Use it to your advantage. Get to know them better. So you guys all love Ferrari. Everyone wants a Ferrari. Everyone's heard of a Ferrari. The person inside of this particular Ferrari is a customer of yours. And I'm willing to bet my fortune that no one in this room has ever heard of him. No one even knows he banks with Nedbank, and no one knows how you can help him make his racing career more real. But I'm going to tell you about that later. So the other thing I want from you is to focus. I want you to focus on being a better bank. I don't want you to focus on anything else. Stop selling me cell phones. Stop selling me iPads. Stop trying to make that part of my money go away, because that means you're just trying to get more money from me. And you know how I feel about a bank? I feel like I give you my money and it goes into a black hole. Then you charge me to get my money out. You charge me to move my money to my accounts. You charge me to pay other people. You charge me my own money to send an email as a proof of purchase to my staff who I'm paying 85 cents. 85 cents to send proof of purchase or proof of payment to my staff. That is robbery when I know how much emails cost to send. It's unnecessary, but on volume, that's where you make your money. So that's how I think. I want you to be a better bank. I want you to lower those rates. I want you to make me want to be with you. The longer I've been with you, the lower my rates should be. It's a really simple mathematical equation. So now let's talk a little bit about cryptocurrency, and decentralization is the phrase here that I'm focusing on. We can talk about this more in the Q&A if you'd like, but the reason I picked decentralization is because the opposite of that is centralization. Again, that black hole that I put my money into as an entrepreneur. I don't know where I physically don't know where my money is. And if I had to go into my bank and ask them for R1 million, they'd go, oh, we don't have R1 million here. Shit, where do we get that from? That's crazy. And we're tired of that. That's centralization. So what cryptocurrency does is it decentralizes that environment and it makes it completely open and completely transparent. And that word transparent is what freaks banks out. So let's talk about the $700 million number. This is how much money in a year expats in Uganda send home every year. $700 million. It costs them anything between 10 and 20% using MoneyGram or Western Union. That is absurd. Absurd that if you send $40, you could be using up to 8 of those dollars to pay for fees to put digital money, fake money, into another digital money, fake money account and move it around. It's moving a number. It's mental. And it can take up to 2 days, and that's the kicker. To illustrate this point, if this was a cryptocurrency transaction, it would be almost instant and cost less than a fraction of a percent to do that transaction. That is why you should be focusing on cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology. That's the part. It's not here to disrupt you. It's here to make what you do more efficient. And yes, unfortunately, that does disrupt your core business model of taking my money. But that means you need to find a new business model. And I know that if I don't know what your product is, I'm the product, and I completely get that. I'm the product, and that's cool. But let's start thinking about decentralization as something that's coming your way in 2018 and onwards. This is a friend of mine, Simon Dingle. He tweeted this. Trying to figure out payments with a service provider of his. The money left Simon's account 2 days ago, and it still isn't in the service provider's account. Were this a blockchain transaction, we could see what the holdup was. Instead, we send money into the opaque bank bullshit bubble and have no idea what they're doing with the money. That frustration is how tech entrepreneurs perceive banks. That is what the problem is. In every single interaction I have with a tech entrepreneur right now, we're trying to figure out how do we use decentralized technology to get around anyone who used to have an unfair middleman advantage. Lawyers, accountants, bankers. Those are the things we're trying to figure out. How do we not pay lawyers who all have the biggest buildings in all of the cities all over the world to do things like they do? And one of those things really simply is a decentralized contract that's verified on the blockchain. One of the other things is a South African startup. If you don't know him, his name is Vinnie Lingham. He's commonly called globally the Bitcoin guru. He's called a lot of crazy calls on Bitcoin, and you should follow him on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook if you don't. His startup is called Civic, and it's a decentralized identification platform. The Know Your Customer, Fika, Rika, Pika, Dika, all the Ikas, he's getting rid of that. Yeah, it's funny until you can't find a lease or something, and then you're like, I'm out, I don't exist, it's not real. So what Civic does is it does your know your customer once, the KYC once, and then it decentralizes that information so that anyone from anywhere can use a variety of things to verify that you exist. your Facebook account, your Twitter, your bank, your tennis club, whatever it might be that's on their blockchain will be used to go, hey, that is Nick. Cool, you can give him whatever you need to give him. That's a really interesting use of blockchain technology, and there's tons of them out there, so don't be shy and start digging. It could be really interesting for you. The other thing that I think is coming is knowledge. For a long time, big businesses have been working on the premise that normal people don't understand their finances. And I was that guy. In 2017, my single goal was to become financially literate. That was it. And I didn't know where to start. Sadly, for my financial advisor, I started with him. So my next prediction is the death of financial advisors is coming, and it's coming fast. Because of startups like LifeCheck and because of people like me who are educating themselves about what their money is doing. I did not know at this point, when I was working with my financial advisor, where he had put my money in specifically. So I knew that I had an Alan Gray unit trust account, and I knew that it invested in businesses and I was making some money. But when I started digging into where Alan Gray had put my money, it actually led me to take all of my investments away from Alan Gray. Alan Gray had invested in a company called Net1. Has anyone heard of Net1? Does anyone want to put their money in Net1? No. When you're stealing money from 17 million people and then you bugger off to the UK and take our billions and then you leverage to get more money out of people, that is robbery. They're worse than the Guptas and no one's talking about it. It's horrific. And Alan Gray refused to move their position in Net1. What Alan Gray did was simply put pressure on Net1 to do the right thing. I don't want pressure. I want my money out of their company. And they wouldn't do it, so I moved. Can you guess where I moved? Signia. Can you guess why? Because Magda says all the right things. If you follow her on Twitter, she's the one calling people out. She's the one taking a stand. She's the one educating people about where their money is, where it's going, why it's going there, how it's going there. She is educating people that they should be conscious of where they're investing. And that's what I spent my year doing. And that's why I'm predicting the end of the financial advisors, because they are out for their 1 or 2%. They're not in it for my retirement. And that's a problem. That is a business model waiting to be disrupted. And I'm going to go back to customer service. There's a nice example of Woolies, and Woolies comes under fire a lot. I know their team really well, and they're a really great customer service team. But this just particularly was astounding. A friend of mine had bought fat-free milk from them 4 times in a row, and 4 times in a row it had expired before the expiry date. It happens. But he tweeted them, and they replied and said, no problem, we'll get back to you. 4 days later, they hadn't gotten back to him. He tweeted them again. No problem, we'll get back to you. 3 hours later, they hadn't gotten back to him. So what this illustrates to me is really a really simple statement for what I believe customer service is. Customer service is, the only purpose of customer service is to change feelings. Change Craig's feeling from really upset that my milk is bad and I can't give it to my kids, to someone's listening to me and they understand me. And now it's okay, I'll wait until tomorrow until I can get more milk. But they did not change his feeling. They pissed him off more. They enhanced his feeling. They doubled down on that feeling by ignoring him. They did not have customer service at the forefront of their mind when they were doing that. So do we know who this guy is? Jeff Bezos is the founder and CEO of Amazon. He's got a big smile on his face. Many, many reasons which I'll come to now. Amazon works on a 0.79% operating margin. Okay, that is phenomenal. And there are a whole bunch of reasons for this. One of the ones that I like the most is that whatever savings Amazon gets from their suppliers, they push onto their customers. Amazon is a business that puts their customers at the center in a very literal way of what they do. Every cent they save, the customer saves 75 of those cents. It's just a smart way to do business. Amazon, the reason Jeff Bezos is smiling is because he's worth $113 billion. He's officially the richest man in the world. And that's because Amazon controls everything. Everything. It's astounding. It's a great business. I'm bullish that it's going to be the first $1 trillion business in the world. But Amazon also bought a company called Zappos. And Zappos was a shoe company in America. They sold shoes online. And they coined a phrase that I absolutely love. And I've stolen for our own business. And they said that Zappos is a customer service business that happens to sell shoes. And I believe that that is all of us. And if you don't agree with that statement, you have a fundamental problem in the next 5 years. You are a customer service business that happens to store my money. Your job is to store my money, and when I want it, give it back to me. And help me make more of it. That's your job, to keep me happy. It's not to play around with my money. And that relationship's been skewed in the last 20 or 30 years. And that's changing. These trends are coming. Customers are getting more vocal. So I've spoken about community before, and this relates directly to the next platform conversation. People talk to people. Yes, there is a move for people to talk to bots, for customer service to become online, and I think that that trend is quite slowly shifting back towards people wanting to engage with real humans. Apple's call center, and out of interest, a lot of Apple's call centers have moved back to Europe because there's so high unemployment in places like Greece and Spain. My mother phoned an Apple customer service line the other day and got through to a Greek guy. I'm Greek. And he was like, oh, Anastasia, that's amazing. Started speaking to her in Greek. That's human. He recognized it, that she was Greek and they were Greek, and they solved the problem together quicker. It wasn't an FAQ and some frustrating process. So people build communities. AIs and bots don't build communities. Real engagement, that's what we need here. So platforms, let's quickly talk about that since you've launched your app. Users don't love apps. It's just not true. There's a nuance here. People love what apps do. People love how apps make them feel. People love services that work and convenience and simple functionality. And over there on the right, I have the Uber Eats app. I love Uber Eats. I love it. I don't care about the technology, and I couldn't give a crap about the app, but think about this. On a Friday afternoon, I think to myself, Hudson's Burgers. And 40 minutes later, they arrive. I have not taken out my wallet. I have not paid anyone with a card. It's like frickin' magic. We live in the future. That's what apps should do. That's what people love about apps. No one cares about your technology backend. No one cares about your app. No one cares about the product itself. They care about what it makes them feel and what it makes them do. Same with e-commerce. E-commerce, people love same-day delivery and savings and to feel loved and to feel special and to love a deal. And in my case, my community loves our story. They love hearing from Nick. They love telling people that they're wearing one of Nick's socks. They love that story. They do not love my e-commerce platform. They do not love that I rebranded 3 years ago. They don't care. They don't notice. They don't know. You think they know. One of my friends gave me one of the best sayings I've ever heard in my life, and I live it every day. What's big in your world, it's not big in the world. Just because it matters to you doesn't mean it matters to everyone. The redesign, the app being green, it doesn't matter. How does it make them feel? If your app does something to fundamentally change their lives, and then you have a good community, people will talk about your app. My partner is a Nedbank customer, and she loves Nedbank. And you know why? Because you don't screw around with technology. You do what you do, and you do it simply. You don't have fancy apps. This is her words. You don't have fancy apps. She goes onto your online banking, and it's basic, and it's not cluttered. She's your worst idea of what technology should be. And then you went and made an app. She was so pissed off that you guys launched an app. She's like, what's wrong with the mobile website? It does everything I need. Now I have to register for this SMS thing, and I have to go into the branch to do this. And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? And there are some fundamental problems with the processes here. So now let's talk about honesty, and this is one of my favorite sections of this talk. Honest marketing is something that I believe is going to change everything that we spend money on in advertising. This is a company called Saddleback. That is the founder and CEO of Saddleback. They make bags. That leather bag is one of them. Their bag is so popular that it is one of the most ripped off bags in the world. So instead of the CEO freaking out and trying to sue these people, he made a 12-minute YouTube video on the best way to rip off a Saddleback bag. And what he did was, item by item for 12 minutes, broke down the bag. And as he's breaking down the bag, he says, you know what, here are the different kinds of leathers you can use. We use this one, it's way too expensive for you. You'll make a lot more money if you use this cheap, crappy one. And these clasps, these are stainless steel, they will never rust. But they're like half the cost of the bag. Just ignore them and use steel-plated whatever, it doesn't matter. And at the end of this 12-minute video, I sat back and I was like, have I just watched a 12-minute video about how to make a leather handbag? I thought, fuck, I want one of those bags. Where do I get one of those bags? He was just really honest about the things that they do. He didn't lie. What he did was say, this is how we make our bag and this is why it's expensive. So I'm going to give you a 2-step process on how to do honest marketing. 1, find a desirable outcome that your company or product delivers. And 2, talk about that thing. That's it. No fuss, no rubbish. Don't try and wangle me. Don't try and give me a big budget. Don't try and give me anything that I don't need. I want honest engagement. I want it in my community, and I want it to make me feel something. I want it to matter. That's what honest marketing is about. That's what we do. And in case you don't believe that, Do you recognize the tattoos of the guy in the middle? That is me. So we do not use models in our advertising. We use customers, staff, and me. If you go onto the website, you will see my fat stomach trawling around all over in our boxer shorts, our t-shirts. I model them. And that's honest. I wear what I make. And internally, the rule is if Nick won't wear it, we don't sell it. Because I wear what I make. I'm wearing socks, underwear, and t-shirt that I make. It's my favorite thing every day. And I don't know the answer to this, and I don't know if you guys do. I'd love to know how many of your top 100 executives exclusively use Nedbank for their banking. I would love to know. How many have Investec accounts? How many have got offshore accounts? Chew your own dog food. I drink my Kool-Aid. Cool. I'm going to rush through. I'm almost done. Okay, so how to best serve entrepreneurs. Going back to my favorite friend. So this is my best friend. His name is David Perrell. He is a customer of yours right now. And honestly, it's so coincidental that I'm talking here today and it's Nedbank. And I'm sorry, guys, but it just happened this way. So David is a Blancpain GT Ferrari racer. No jokes. He races Ferraris for a living. It's an expensive hobby. It's a brutal career. If you crash the car, the driver pays for the fix. If you need a change of tires, the driver pays for the tires. It's vicious. But this is David in his car, and this is David on the podium. He wins. Last year, he won every race in Blancpain that was there to win. This year, he came back, and he needed a new card from Nedbank. He's going back to London in 2 weeks. In a week. And they said, sorry, we can't get it to you in 2 weeks. What? You can't get an existing customer a replacement card for an existing account in less than 2 weeks. And they literally couldn't. They've made him go into the branch to fill out documents to make it an emergency card so that he could get it before he left for London. And they said to him, there's another option. You can pay us 750 Rand to send the card to you in London. Are you kidding? How is that helping a struggling entrepreneur? And he genuinely is struggling. They don't get paid to do this. When he goes back to London and he has no card to draw money out of an ATM to literally eat with, how are you empowering entrepreneurs? Come on, guys. How hard can it be to get someone a new card? It's plastic. So, streamline my world. I mentioned this already. 8 days in Afghanistan to open a business, of all places in the world, Afghanistan. 45 days in South Africa. And that's without the banking rubbish that goes with it. That's just opening the business at the CIPC. It's brutal being an entrepreneur in South Africa. No one is helping us to try and make this work. So what I did was I went onto Facebook and I asked my followers, what if the banks had to do anything could they do to help you as an entrepreneur? And unequivocally, the number one response was, help me understand my cash flow. To me, that's a crazy statement. This is being my 12th business. I can't believe people are asking their bank to help them track cash flow. I gave up on that long ago. I use Xero. Xero accounting plugs into my bank, and then I can see cash flow projections. But I've had to do a lot of work to do that. You've got data. Why don't you say to me, hey, Nick, winter's really bad for you. Maybe you should start saving a little bit more. Why don't you tell me who my worst payers are? Help me get money back from them. There is a country in Scandinavia, and I couldn't find it for the life of me which one it was, that forces businesses over a certain size to pay 30 days on invoice. If they don't, the bank takes the money out of their accounts and gives it to the person who they owe the money to. Do you understand how much that would help my business? That would change the game. And you know why? Have you ever thought about, as not entrepreneurs, some of you might be, why big businesses hold money in their accounts? Interest. Interest. They screw over small businesses because the more money they can hoard in their account, the more interest they make over 90 days. So they just don't pay me. That is robbery. If we want to make this economy right, we need to empower small businesses to stay alive longer, to buy stuff from the big businesses. It's a really simple and obvious cycle that I cannot believe we don't understand. So help me with 30-day payment terms. That's a big ask, and I know it is. Knowledge. This one's really simple. Just educate me. Engage with me in an authentic and honest way. When I was on my hunt for financial literacy, over 12 months, I read 10 different books, spoke to lots of different people. You know who I did not speak to? My bank. Because I don't believe they're looking after my best interest when it comes to my money. And that is a sad indictment on the banking industry. You need to start educating me about my money and how you help me make more money. Networking. This one, I can't believe that it's not being done. It should be done so simply. Silicon Valley Bank in America says, hey, Mr. Investor, let's come together at an event like this and meet Mr. Entrepreneur. You both bank with us. We believe you both can do something amazing. Let's get together. Let's do something cool. Why aren't you introducing people to people? Community. Build the Nedbank community. In fact, if there are Nedbank businesses that are working together, make their transferables, their payments and transfers immediate and free. Inspire them to work with you and work together as Nedbank customers. This one's really simple. Stop phoning me. Stop phoning me. WhatsApp me. Send me a voice note. I want my private banker to voice note me updates. I want my private banker to contact me on my WhatsApp. And this is a big one. Don't go to your IT department and tell them I suggested this. You want your app to be downloaded. Tell every entrepreneur that they can have direct and immediate access to a private banker through the app via IM or voice note. I guarantee you, they'll be like, holy crap, that's a great idea. I'll download this and talk to my banker tomorrow. Because why I couldn't get my deposit back was because my private banker was getting back to me in 48-hour intervals. That's brutal. When I'm trying to fight for 300,000 Rand, it needs to be immediate and instant. The WhatsApp age. Some quick fire ideas and then we're done. Digital signatures and contracts. Holy crap, come on. It's legal. It's a legally accepted document. You do not need me to come into your branch to sign with a black pen, by the way, and there's no reason for that either, a document. These are all bureaucratic legacy bloat that makes me mad. When I've got technology on my computer, I've got my digital signature and I get it done. Email it to you and it's over. And then you go, can't cancel the guarantee. We need you to ship us the original bank guarantee that you sent to Menlyn Park 12 months ago. If you could fly to them and get that back and you could put it in an envelope, seal it, write your name on it and post it to me. And then my bank lost one of the pages of the only version because they wouldn't accept a digital. And then I had to go and get another one. Digital contracts, come on, so simple. Bundle top software with a bank account. Hey, entrepreneur, open a bank account with Nedbank and you get free zero. Accounting, not zero for free. Enforce the 30-day payments. Debt-free does not mean bad credits. This is a really important one for entrepreneurs. If I've been self-employed my whole life, how on earth do I have credits of any kind? Never mind bad credits. I just pay everything in cash. I go into H&M and I buy it on cash. I don't have credit. That means I can't get a loan. It means I can't buy a house. It means I can't buy a car. It means that I do not exist in the world of banking. It's nuts. And it's kind of what I want going forward in the next 10 years. Pause interest when my business is struggling. You've got the data. You see when I'm struggling. Stop charging me interest on my debt. Just for a period. And then when I pick up again, charge me interest again. Just be there with me. Be a partner. Help me a little bit. Better interest rates for loyal customers. The longer I'm with you, the more I should be rewarded. And seriously, automatically just enable cards for online transactions. I don't care what the laws are. I don't care what the bureaucracy is. Just let people buy stuff online. That's going to make you more money in the long term. So let's recap. I asked you for 3 simple things, and I think I've stuck to them really harshly here. Simplify what you do. Focus on the things that will make you better as a bank, and serve your customer. You need the best basics, and then you can innovate. With a broken basic, you cannot innovate effectively on top of it.